Srila Siddhanta occasionally went outside Mayapur for preaching. So he didn't stay in one place. Especially to attack the Apasampradayas for misleading people with the bogus interpretations and practices. He particularly agitated the smarta Brahmins. I think we should call them the smart-ass Brahmins. And the Jnana Swamis.
That's good enough to put on the jokes conference.
Hey, look, when I do Sankirtan and I'm ready to give a book to someone, you get a crowd, you go, who's the smartest person here? And always the kids go, okay. And then I go, no, I mean the smart ass. Anyway, Smarta Brahmins, Jada Goswamis, they don't follow all regulations, and they claim to be devotees, they're not strict, so they're not good examples for the people. So he challenged them, according to their, let's see, that the position of a Brahmin and post of a guru are not hereditary professions. Such assertions were intolerable to the Smarta Brahmins and Jata Goswamis, who were keeping a stranglehold on Hinduism and Bengal by maintaining that only people born in a family of Brahminical lineage could be counted as a genuine Brahmin or guru, and who were not at all happy with these new ideas that contested their unquestioned authority and threatened to spoil their ancestral business of cheating. Although still tradition, the false Brahmins felt themselves under increasing pressure and hence marshaled themselves to protect their interests. It's a conspiracy. August 1911, suspending their mutual mistrust of the Smarta Brahmins and caste Goswamis, arranged a meeting at Srinagar village in the district of Bengal. Let me read that again. In August 1911, suspending their mutual mistrust of one another. The caste Goswamis against the Smartas. So they're joining again to fight Bhaktissidanta. Under the chairmanship of Sri Bipina Bihari Swami, they declared their anti-devotional manifesto, soon thereafter published in the Purva-Paksha Nirasane, refutal of the opposing argument. This was a serious problem. You don't realize this. It said, unless born in a Brahmin family, a Vaishnava is disqualified from worshipping Shaligram Shila and conferring initiation. You can't be a guru. By accepting disciples, Narottam Das and Shamananda Prabhu had thus contravened the Shastra. So they were initiating at this time. Narottam and Shamananda. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presented Raghunath Das with a Govardhan Shila because as a Shudra he was disqualified from the Shaligram worship. And worship of the Govardhan Shila has no Shastra basis and hence is mere conventional or sentimental. They don't like Govardhan Shilas? What's with that? Only those injunctions of Hari Bhakti Vilas that do not contradict traditional smritis are to be followed. Okay, too technical, over-intelligent, that's the problem. So where we are, okay, what happened? The 3-day public event beginning September 8, 1911 in the village of Baligai, close to Shujangar, was organized by Bhaktitirtha Thakur, a disciple of Bhakti Vinod, and was sponsored by the Maharaj of Mayurbhanj, whose family tradition had ruled on behalf and as disciples of the Shamanandi Gurus. Bhaktivinoda was expected to be the main speaker, but due to severe rheumatism, what's rheumatism?
Pain in the joints?
I figured it out. Rheumatism. He had severe rheumatism, unable to attend. In frustration,
arthritis. It's rheumatoid arthritis.
In frustration, he cried out Is there no one in the Vaishnava world who can reply to these people and by presenting scriptural evidence and logic put a stop to their low activities? Taking up their challenge, Bhaktissidanta Saraswati penned a manuscript entitled Brahman, O Vaishnav, Tatra Jnana Vishakya Siddhanta, conclusion concerning the Brahmins and Vaishnavas. Bhaktivinoda was so much in pain he couldn't get out of bed. But when Bhaktisiddhanta or Sri Siddhanta Saraswati read the essay, he spontaneously sat up and congratulated Srila Siddhanta Saraswati, declaring confidently that by such arguments the darkness of these doctrines would soon be dissipated. So Sri Siddhanta Saraswati went to the meeting, marching to the battle. Upon arrival, he was accorded a reception befitting an acharya by Sri Madhusudana Goswami of the Radharaman temple in Vrindavan and Sri Vishvambarananda Goswami, themselves ancestral gurus and other respectable and learned Vaishnavas. Sri Vishvambarananda Das was from a lineage that was originally Kayasta, whose members several generations before had unilaterally undertaken the role of Brahmins. Despite their hereditary acquired status as gurus, these two renowned Vaishnava scholars upheld the Shastra, understanding that a person should be recognized as a Brahmin, Vaishnava or guru, according to his qualities.
According to his qualities.
The day after he arrived, Siddhanta Saraswati accompanied Sri Madhusudana Goswami in inspecting the arrangements for that meeting. Although the Smartas and the Jata Goswamis had not been invited, a considerable number had arrived from all over Bengal. It was a takeover. It was the Indian Woodstock. The madness. After perceiving little capable resistance in the Vaishnava encampment, they were swaggering about in peremptory good spirits. On Madhusudana and Vishvambara's advice, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati for the time being kept aloof and avoid entering into parley with the opposition. They were waiting for the big moment. The next day, Vishvambara Goswami accepted the chair of the meeting. Although Sri Siddhanta was the youngest delegate, how old was he? This is 1911.
Would be 37.
Okay. Although his reputation was such that it was clear he should be the first to speak. And they all believed that. Repeating the conclusion of his essay, he began citing numerous scriptures of probation of Brahmins, references and approbation. This delighted his antagonists, most of whom were unaware of many of the passages he quoted. But their glee turned to wrath when Sri Siddhanta Saraswati shifted tack to compellingly refute the Smarta position with his unerring logic and mastery of scriptural lore, presenting overwhelming evidence for ascertaining who is actually a Brahmin and Vaishnava, and asserting that only a Vaishnava is a true Brahmin, superior to those who claim Brahmanhood by birth, and that Vaishnavas should be gurus of seminal produced Brahmins, not vice versa. So we say a Vaishnava is automatically a Brahmin, but a Brahmin not necessarily is a Vaishnava. They got it all screwed up. So he gave compelling reasons to suggest that the bloodlines could not be wholly unsullied. What does that mean, unsullied?
Not contaminated.
Unpolluted.
So the Brahmins responded with an uproar, squawking, gesticulating, but were requested by Madhusudana to keep the peace, for just listen. So some more speakers cited profusely from scriptures to verify Sri Siddhanta's points, emphasizing that Lord Chaitanya had defied caste rigidity by accepting devotees on their spiritual merit, not by birth. At the conclusion of the first day, on the second, the uninvited Smartas were allowed to speak. The meeting climaxed with a 2-hour allocation by Sri Siddhanta, which recapitulated the genuine Vaishnava position. So it's kind of like a trial, and everyone gets to say something at the end. So, in defense, as the Smartas and Jadas slinked away, Vishwambara Goswami affirmed Sri Siddhanta as the champion of the meeting, a conclusion echoed by thousands of cheering people. Expressing awe at the erudition of Sri Siddhanta, Madhusudana Goswami declared him, he's an avatar of Sukadev Goswami, and later conveyed deep gratitude to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur for preparing a mighty acharya in the personage of Sri Siddhanta Saraswati. So, we remember Srila Prabhupada and how he always likes to smash in the Mayavadis, you know. Like there was a big festival of Swamis and Prabhupada was invited. And Prabhupada said, they're inviting me because I'm so famous and they just want to draw a big crowd. So what happened is Prabhupada would be up there, devotees would be up there, and then these Mayavadis would go on and on and on and on. Prabhupada was just chanting and japa. Then after the Mayavadis, you know, Prabhupada was the headliner. So they said, okay, now Swami Bhaktivinoda is going to speak. And he said, now we'll have kirtan. And he got up and they started singing. And the devotees got up and started dancing. And all the people were like stunned out of their Mayavadi nonsense. And they got up and they started dancing. And then the devotees jumped down in the audience. And everyone was singing and dancing. And Prabhupada was dancing like this and like this. And then after so much time, they calmed down and Prabhupada spoke like 10 minutes and then left. So the next day, the people came over to see Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, my students aren't very learned in this Hindi knowledge, and so it would be best if you let us speak first. And they're like, oh yeah, no problem, no problem. You speak first, and then the others will speak. Didn't happen. They got on the stage, and again, Mayavadi started speaking, and so they sat through it, okay. And then Prabhupada had another kirtan, and there was an incident where one of the Indian men tried to get the devotees to jump down in the crowd again, and it was just a spontaneous thing the night before. And one man was actually pulling a girl's sari. Come on down and chant. And Prabhupada came up with a kartan and went like this. Stop that! So, the next day, Prabhupada said, we cannot sit through all this. Let us speak first, and then my students can, you know, we can have our kirtan. Oh yes, we'll do that, we'll do that. Again, they started speaking, and Prabhupada just walked right out. All the boys went out too. And then later, the boys came back to do the kirtan. But, it's so polluted. We have this Mayavadi philosophy, and we really are so dedicated to Bhaktivinoda and Bhaktisiddhanta for crushing it and really establishing the true Vaishnava culture that was lost to all these imitator rascals. Now, of course, Christianity has fallen prey to the same thing. Probably all the major religions have become, as Prabhupada said, they become so polluted in time by unscrupulous, personally motivated people that they're not getting the benefits of practicing their religion. And it's just like they're hoping and praying that we'll get to heaven, but there's no proof, there's no philosophy, there's no experience. And so it's really sad. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, what's that verse? Raja Vidyam, Raja Goyam, Pavitamidam Uttamam, Prachaksaragamam Dharmam, Susakam Kartamavayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets, and is the perfection of religion because it gives direct perception of the soul by realization. It is everlasting and joyfully performed. That's real spiritual practice. You feel so happy. Now, why do you feel so happy? Well, I always say there's three things. One, all your questions are answered. And when all your questions are answered, you feel so light, you feel so happy, because all your problems are solved. It's right there in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada's written so many books, answers everybody's question. So then you feel so much ecstatic all your problems are solved. Surrender to Krishna. Krishna takes care of you. He says, I'll carry what you have and I'll provide what you lack. That means whatever spiritual progress you make, that's forever. And whatever spiritual progress you need, he's going to give you that coming up. You stick with it. And the last thing is, once you have this knowledge, you're detached from the world. You're no longer interested in the world. This is the effect of real religion. So Krishna consciousness is that, and that's why it's predicted there'll be 10,000 years of Krishna consciousness. And we're just the pioneers now, starting with Lord Chaitanya 500 years ago. But it's spreading everywhere. You know, I think there are maybe 1 million closet devotees in the world. I really think so. I mean, I meet people on the street, and this one guy goes, "Whoa, who are you collecting for?" I said, "Oh, we're a charitable group." I keep it simple. Charitable group. We help people, you know, bad people out of bad conditions. Yeah, well, what is this group? What is it? And I go, "Oh, it's a great thing. You know, we do a lot of food programs and help people out of drugs and everything." So he goes, here's a few bucks. And then I pulled out a book and I said, "Yeah, we teach natural living, the ancient knowledge." And I showed him, and he goes, "Oh, Bhagavad Gita, yeah, I read the Bhagavad Gita." Introduction to the Gita. I said, "Oh, yeah, like this, yeah." But oh yeah, what?
There was one guy on Harinam last night who said, the guy we were standing on the corner when we were walking back to the vehicles, he said, what did he say? He said, Gaur Premanandi. Yeah, there was one guy.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, this
we
random
just
guy.
ended the kirtan, you know, and then we said like Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, and then he said that.
See what I mean? There's so many positive ways out there. But I'll tell you one of the most amazing Sankirtan stories. I met this guy. He looked like military, South American, and I was telling people about Krishna and everything. He goes, "Oh yeah, I know you guys. In fact, you were kidnapped in Bolivia." I go, "What?" He said, "Yeah, 4 of your devotees were kidnapped in Bolivia, and I was called in to get them out of kidnapping because I was with the paramilitary. So we surveilled the place where they were hidden, and we could see that, oh yeah, they're devotees, they have that little thing in the back there. We stormed in there and got them out." Thank you very much.
That's amazing.
He was coming out of Home Depot.
He must have been in ecstasy saving the devotees.
Man, he's going to go back to Godhead. He took a book, gave a donation, everything. So you never know who you're going to meet out there. People are, "Oh, we were just talking about reincarnation this morning, and now you're here giving us a book." People are so appreciative. Then the next person will say, "Go get a job." "I'm not a Hindu." And one lady goes, "We don't bow down to anybody."
Sometimes they get reaction when they do that.
They do. They do, you know, because, you know, in the Ten Commandments it says, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." But they don't know who God is, so how can they judge, you know, who's another God before the real God, the demigods? So we have a feast offered to Bhaktissidanta. I hope you enjoyed it. And so everyone's going to go into the next building and we'll take prasadam. Any other questions, comments? All glories to the Lion Guru Bhaktissidanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai.
One question.
Oh yeah.
Are you going on Harinam tonight?
Oh, when is it?
We're going to do 6 to 8.
What about tomorrow?
You're going to come tomorrow too?
That's the big one tomorrow.
Today's a big one too. Today's Bhaktissidanta Saraswati Thakur's also today's Gaur Govinda Swami's disappearance day.
Seriously?
Yeah.
He disappeared today?
Yep.
Yeah, Bhaktissidhanta's appearance day in Mayapur after giving a lecture.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Right. He just kind of fell over on the bed and said, "I can't speak anymore." And
I was just reading
gone.
what he was saying last night.
Really?
Yeah, I was ecstatic.
Oh, his last
he was
words?
talking about was talking about how I think it was either Krishna or Mahaprabhu, but his eyes got really big, and this is how, and like in the lila, this is how he became Jagannath.
Something about, Lord Chaitanya, what? Became Jagannath?
Yeah, his eyes got really big.
Ah.
Yeah. I think it's because he like saw like Radharani or something like that.
Alright, so all glories to the assembly devotees, Haribol.
Haribol.
Thank you for that.